Mark Reason last updated 13:32 the 22nd of January 2019. Julian Finney, Getty Images Rafael Nadal plays a backhand shot against Tomas Berdych in Melbourne on Sunday. Pablo Carreno Busta loses the plot after his fifth set loss. Julian Finney Rafael Nadal shows his brilliant court coverage against Tomas Berdych at the Australian Open. Getty Images Rafael Nadal proudly represents Spain at the Rio Olympics in 2016. Getty Images Rafael Nadal is the king of clay, winning 11 French Open titles at Roland Garros. CLIVE B. Getty Images Rafael Nadal and Marc Lopez celebrate their Olympic gold medal in the men's doubles in Rio in 2016. CLIVE Rose. Getty Images Rafael Nadal had some ups and downs at Wimbledon, but won 2 singles titles in 2008 and 2010. Tennis opinion? Vamos. Let's go. Only Rafael Nadal is not going to go on forever. Many tennis lovers of the world will weep salt tears when Roger Federer walks on court for the final time. My wife is observing a period of mourning after the retirement of Andy Murray, and Serbs will wear black with the passing of Novak Djokovic. But when Rafa Nadal decides there are no more countries for him to conquer, I will look upon tennis with a feeling of overwhelming nostalgia. Read more. Nadal says retiring Murray will be a big loss to tennis. Federer beats rival Nadal to win Shanghai Masters title. Nadal to split with longtime coach and uncle Tony Nadal. Nadal takes doctor's orders, pulls out of Rotterdam Open. If Federer has been the supreme classicist, with the orthodox one-handed backhand, and that graceful movement, then Nadal has been the revolutionary. And when his fans cry, "Viva la revolución," they talk not just of peaceful resistance, but about the wild revolutions that Rafa puts on the ball. That top-spin forehand is still one of the most beautiful, mind-blowing, inconceivable shots that you will ever see. When Rafa was in his prime, there was almost a treble loop on the follow-through, such was the whiplash spin through the ball. The shot would bend and bounce in ways that even Roger could not cope with, particularly on his backhand side. Even now Rafa's monumental forehand still plays tricks with his opponents. At the 2009 Australian Open, after losing to Rafa in the final, Federer wept because he realized that the Spaniard was the finer tennis player. The year before, Nadal had also triumphed in the epic Wimbledon final, still considered by many to be the greatest match of all time. He was the alpha male. There was no question of his supremacy. Add feedback, and yet Rafa remained extraordinarily humble. A tale is told from early 2008 when Rafa walked into the players' canteen after losing in the semi-final of the Australian Open. Nadal walked up to the cash register with a bag of chippies and passed over his tournament badge. The cashier swiped it and apologetically told Nadal his tournament allowance was used up, but he could have the chippies for free. Nadal, who was still in his tennis gear and had no cash in his pocket, politely said, "No thank you," and walked away. He has never felt entitled. He has never behaved as if he were better than you and I. That same year he was mobbed at the Beijing Olympics. But Nadal had time for everyone and still won the gold medal in the singles. Jamie Staff, a gold medal-winning British sprint cyclist, bumped into Nadal in the village laundry room. Staff said to the BBC, "I didn't bother him, but he was shoving all his colors and whites in together. I really wanted to say, dude, you're going to have a nightmare with that." Every athlete wants to talk to the tennis stars at the Olympics. The hassle is such that Federer and Murray decided they could no longer handle it and checked into private accommodation away from the Olympic Village. But Rafa was back in Rio in 2016, mixing with the village multitudes, carrying the flag at the opening ceremony with a great goofy grin, a man of the people and of his people. Martin Keimer, the German golfer, said of Nadal at Rio, "I saw him yesterday but he could barely eat. There were so many people wanting to talk to him and take pictures. He is very inspiring, the way he is as a person, mobbed, overwhelmed, and playing with a wrist injury." Nadal partnered with his friend Marc Lopez and still won gold in the doubles. Rafa fell to the ground and cried. Friendship, Spain and the Olympics meant more than personal glory. So many things set him apart. The 11 French titles is inconceivable, but wonder this. The serve is the most important single shot at the top of men's tennis now, because of the improvement in rackets and balls. It can be overpowering. Yet Rafa never had a serve to overpower. Ironically, the nearest he has come is now, after changes to his action. But he was still the best at his peak because of the sheer variety and brilliance of his ground strokes. In the fourth round at the Australian Open, Tomas Berdych powered a forehand winner, but Rafa got there and fetched the ball back from behind his body, and feathered it cross-court at a ridiculous angle. El hombre impossible. And yet we keep coming back to that humility. Nadal used to fly home to his family in Spain on the budget airline EasyJet, play a bit of golf at home, go fishing with his dad, have dinner with his grandmother on Sunday evening. And then from out of a blue sky, Nadal's parents split up after nearly 30 years of marriage. Nadal wrote, "My family had always been the holy, untouchable core of my life, my center of stability and a living album of my wonderful childhood memories. I suffered, on behalf of my father, my mother and my sister, who were all having a terrible time. Home was where Nadal could escape the celebrity madness. Now, where there had been laughter and jokes, a heavy silence hung. Nadal's mind and his body broke apart for a while. His knee and his brain couldn't take the strain. Man inside had lost all love of life, but here he is again, bouncing like a boxer before the start of his quarterfinal match against Francis Tiafoe. Maybe he will win, maybe he won't, but for me there can be no better man of tennis. Nadal's mind is stronger than Federer's, if the flesh is weaker, and I also believe Nadal to be the better shot maker. The Red Dirt of Paris tells the story. You may not expect to see a chivalrous knight in an orange muscle man singlet, but then Rafa is a man apart. He plays the game like no one else, and yet he is an everyman. Even at his lowest moment, Nadal could still say, "I've never reached the point of hating tennis," as some professional players say they have. You can't hate something, I don't think, that puts the food on the table and has given you almost everything you have in life. Viva Rafa! Stuff.